Oh, Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy. And we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays, Monday through Friday.
Hi, you're listening to The Truth Be Told with myself, T-Baby, here on KUAW Radio. That's Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. If you have a business or an event that you would like sponsored here on KUAW, make sure to send us an email to KUAW985@gmail.com. You can call us anytime during this live broadcast at 816-599-6893. That number is scrolling at the top of your screen. So whenever you feel the need to tap in, give us a call. You can find us 24/7 on the World Wide Web. That's www.kuaw.org. If you're watching me live on Facebook, hey. And if you're listening to me over the air via TuneIn or via the website and you'd like to watch me live, hop over to our Facebook page. That's KUAW-radio or YouTube, KUAW Radio. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, TuneIn, KUAW, across the board. Make sure you like and subscribe and invite all your family and friends to those pages so that they can share in the great content that we have here on KUAW Radio. Alrighty, so I do want to talk about, I know as Chiefs fans, we're excited going down. We actually play this coming weekend, surpass this bye week that we just had. We got to play the Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt's coming back to the kingdom, coming back to Arrowhead, and we all know the stories that was going on last year about Kareem Hunt. When we won the Super Bowl and everything. Like now he making videos talking about his personal and all kind of stuff. Like he mad at us. You ain't got to be mad at us. We really didn't want to kick him out the kingdom, but hey, the powers that be, right? But anyway, it should be exciting. I'm ready. I'm telling y'all every week. I got my tickets. Y'all better get y'all. It's gonna be Road to the Super Bowl. Comes to Kansas City. It's gonna be exciting. Those tickets was high. I don't know if y'all looked at those tickets or not, but whoo, those tickets was high. I thought of it. I'm gonna be right at home. My old Super Bowl, our old little what is it, divisional game, I guess, something like that, championship. Yeah, something. It's something. But yeah, so that's exciting. I'm let's go Chiefs, right, cousin? I'm ready. I'm excited about it. And then, of course, we all seen what took place at the Capitol building last week after the announcement of, I guess it was the Georgia election that everybody was waiting on. Some final things going on in the Georgia election. And the storming of the Capitol building. Okay, so the thing about the storming of the Capitol building, right? It's so much, right? It's so much. I mean, just because you think about all the protests that we do, we out here protesting our lives. We're out here protesting, for justice, for not to be oppressed in the banking system and the financial system, not to be shot down in the streets by people that are supposed to protect and storm us, or protect and serve us, And so it's not comparable. And it's absurd, right? And then, but it's like they call in National Guard, put up barricades, have all kind of cops in riot gear, everything in anticipation of a riot from us, right? Or anticipation, not even a riot, a protest, because we all know the rioting comes from their own people. They send their own people in there to break into stores and all that other kind of stuff or whatever. Then they catch us in the pictures coming out the stores and everything like that, but it be their own people that they send down to entice these type of activities during our protests, where it turns into what they call a riot. But for these people to walk in the building, and then I don't even know if y'all seen, like a couple of days ago, they came out and was saying that it was some officers that were suspended, and the fact that having basically something to do with it, because that's the thing. It's like they were able to get into this building, no security. Basically, security was weak. It's like they walked right on in, right? And we have to look at this like, why is it, would they will allow some things like this or whatever? And I repost this video on my Instagram, so y'all make sure y'all go follow my Instagram. But I repost this video in the Instagram, and they was just saying, like, we gotta sit this one out. This don't have nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't come in to clean up the mess or anything like that. Like, this don't it's heartbreaking and only suspended. Yeah, they did only get suspended for now, because I'm pretty sure that's just the first step. And they have to go into a further investigation, which hopefully that would be something that happens. They go into further investigation surrounding the thing. Oh, and then being put on the no-fly list. Oh, these people is acting up at these airports. If y'all ain't been able to catch those videos, y'all gotta go to the hashtag no fly list on Twitter, okay? Because these videos will have you cracking up. Okay, I'm talking about these people is mad. Like, but what do you expect? We expect full charges to be brought against these people, that were involved in this thing and everything like that. Because let it would have been, on the other hand, let it would have been us. It would have been a bloody massacre. And it would have been all been in the name of justice. Let them tell it. Like, it would have been a bloody massacre if it would have been the other way around, But definitely the no fly list dead. Them mugs is funny, okay? This one man was like screaming out in the airport talking about you're treating me like a black person. Like, what? What did you just say? Like, the audacity. It's a shift going on, y'all. It's a shift, and we got to be prepared. We got to be prepared mentally for it and everything like that, because I always said that we are we're in a spiritual war. It seems like it's a physical one, because they want it to be a physical one so bad. They want it to be a physical one. They want to turn into another civil war and all that kind of stuff, a race war, whatever you want to call it. They love. Here's the thing: Europeans love war. Okay, like, that's history. Their whole history is built off of war. Everything, they love war. So, of course, but it's a spiritual war that we fight in. It's a spiritual war that we got to be prepared for physically as well. So don't give away your guns. That's that new presidency. We'll see what's going to happen, y'all. But anyway, I ain't saying give up your guns or nothing like that, but also being prepared mentally and spiritually for what's going on, for this shift that was going on. We talked about a couple of weeks ago, people were talking about the age switching into the age of Aquarius, and the power of the alignments of the planets and everything like that. The age of Aquarius is really about awakening, but our people are coming into that, and we got to be prepared for that, because that's what it's going to take to get us through these next couple of years, these next future generations, to be able to actually establish some things, some actual roots that will have that our great grandchildren can bear fruit from, So, but we have to be prepared. But before I get into all that, because we're going to talk about that a little today too. But I want to talk about this ban on Trump as well. Okay, so let me and I'm a pull this down, because I made a status about this, y'all, and it was crazy because I didn't even respond to nobody back on the status. I just made the status or whatever, shared the picture, because I just wanted to see what people was gonna say and how people were gonna view it and everything like that. So they didn't block. We done had what 4 years of Trump. Is this his first? Is this his first term or second? Oh, okay. Yeah, first. Okay, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. Hey, 2020 felt like 10 years in itself, so y'all know. Excuse me. But okay, so the 4 years that we've been dealing with him, he's been Twitter fingers since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always very outspoken. You know, they didn't already took some banned some tweets and stuff from him and everything like that. But now he is banned on Facebook, Twitter, Google, Spotify, Snapchat, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Reddit. I don't even know what Reddit is. Reddit and Shopify. And I don't even know what he gonna do on Shopify that they gotta ban the man on Shopify. Like, what the heck? But now here's the thing. I don't really like to dwell in like the conspiracy theory type things, okay? However, when you look at all the things this man has been saying over the past time, even with COVID, like, they were so mad. He was telling people to drink bleach. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the stuff that he was saying or whatever, they never took it to this extreme. Never. Okay, so now he didn't lost the presidency. We know this, okay? He knows this, okay? So, and now he's blocked again about everything. I said, I honestly feel like he's trying to say something that they don't want him to say, and they just trying to find all ways to mute him. So then I made that status, right? And they was like, well, what is it that he's going to say? Well, he just held one of the most powerful positions in the world, not in just the United States. To be the president of the United States of America is a high position in the world, okay? So he probably knows all kind of not probably, he does. He knows all kind of information, inside trades, and all these other kind of things of what's going on in the United States. His son, I don't know if it was him or his son that was tweeting about Biden trying to sell us to China. You know what I'm saying? He said that he was trying to sell the United States to China, right? And we already know they trying to buy up Africa. So let's not act like, you know, they can't come across that water, right? So it's like, what is it really that, you know, they're trying to keep him from saying for sharing? Because I tell y'all, they say the Simpsons ain't been wrong yet. In a minute, they gonna kill that man. Like, he is gonna get, and I hate to put this out in the atmosphere, because y'all know I believe thoughts are things, and we, you know what I'm saying, we speak these type of things or whatever, but just look at the pattern of the, I don't know what to call them. I want to say the powers that be, but it's not really the powers that be. They only have powers because we give them power. You know what I'm saying? Like, we give them power over us. So that's the only reason that they have power, right? But anyway, for the lack of better wording, the powers that be. And I mean, look what they did to JFK, right? Malcolm, Martin, like, come on now, like, there's a pattern. When people start, not that I'm putting Trump, let's be clear, I am not putting Trump in the same category as Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or even JFK. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying that, but I'm saying when there's a pattern of when the quote unquote powers that be wants to silence someone, there's a pattern that goes through. That we can clearly see that happens. You know what I'm saying? So I just tell our people to think, because that's one thing about it. It's like, we cannot be so like, oh, that's absurd. Why would they do that? This, and that. You know what I'm saying? Just to think that it's not a possibility. I always, speak on open-mindedness. Like, having an open mind will help you with so many truths of life that you wouldn't even really consider. That would even be, a part of this plane of manifest, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the right wording to, what I'm trying to say or whatever. So don't think that it's so absurd that it's not questionable, because everything is questionable. That's like, they say that's one thing that we do with our children. It's like, we teach them not to question anything. Don't question adults. Don't question their parents and all this other kind of thing. So we grow up into this society that doesn't question anything, right? Or we feel like questioning someone who may be an elder or in a position of quote unquote power or whatever, then it's disrespectful to question them. No. question everything. I feel like everything should be questioned. Everything in your life, everything that comes forth you, I feel like you should question it. If you don't know who to ask the question to, ask the question to yourself. Meditate on it, sleep on it. I don't know, but I just feel like everything should be questioned, because we have been filled with so many lies, and I don't even know how else to describe it, but we have been filled with so many lies through news, through news programs, through music, through education, like public education, you know what I'm saying, even secondary education. Like, a lot of these things we have been taught, religion, even in religion, it's like when you have been raised a certain way, those things follow you into adulthood. We can all agree on that. And so when you these type of things, when I've kind of lost my train of thought. I mean, so many thoughts be going through my mind, y'all. Y'all gotta excuse me. It's like I think faster than I talk. Okay. But no, we've been fed so many lies that when we hear the truth, it is astonishing. It's so absurd to us outside of our belief system that it's more of a lie. We treat it more like a lie than anything. We don't question it. We don't research it. We don't I'm the type of person, if someone tells me something, I'm never going to tell them that they're wrong or tell them that they're right, especially if I don't know. If it's not something that I have studied my own, I'm definitely not going to make that discernment whether they're right or wrong or whatever. But what I will do is take whatever information that they give me, and I might go look, I'm gonna go look it up for myself. I'm gonna go dive into the resources to see whether I can come into a factual agreement of truth. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that those are the type of things that we should do with everything. And I was trying to see how much time I got, but I'm gonna just go into it. I know I'm gonna have to take a break, but I know that I talk a lot on our thoughts, our thoughts being things, right? And I kind of want to speak on, I made this post earlier this week about happiness being an inside job, right? And I know that every day we all wake up with a choice. Every decision, every second of the day, you have the ability to make a choice. And everything that you do, and every feeling that you feel, emotion that comes across you, whether you view it as a choice or not, is a choice, right? You choose the way that you react to things. And so when we talk about like happiness and joy, these are the type of things they tell you money can't buy, even though people with money swear up and down it gets you closer. But it's not really the money that gives you the happiness. It's the freedom to do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can sleep as long as you want to sleep. You can get up and drive wherever you want to drive whatever car you want to drive, put on whatever you want to put on. Like, if you have enough money that allows you to do those things, but it's not the actual money that's giving you the happiness. It's the freedom, the feeling of freedom that you have over your life that brings the happiness. And we can choose to have those type of things with or without money. We've been conditioned to think that you need money to be able to do these type of things. That's where gratitude comes in, because you have to be grateful for where you are today. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to get to where you want to be in the future or tomorrow, you got to be grateful and show gratitude over where you are today. Because y'all know I be on this Clubhouse thing, right? And a lot of people they talk about, or we were talking about how I'm trying to think of what I was just trying to, I don't know, but I was saying, but being grateful where you are today or whatever, and what it is that you have today. We were talking about this, like manifesting and everything, like what it is that you want. When we think about the law of attraction, y'all know I talk about these universal laws all the time. If you ain't looked up the universal laws listening to my show by now, I don't know what to tell you. You should really. But it all, because they all work hand in hand, right? They all go together. They all work together. I'm trying to think, but yeah, I was trying to think of a different word because I feel like I use that word too much, but I don't know. I can't think of it right now. But it's important to understand it, because when you don't understand them, then they are working against you, really. When you really don't understand how the law of attraction works, when you really don't understand how the frequency or energy level that you dwell on, that you put out, is also the frequency level that you attract on. When you don't understand those type of things or whatever, those things are because they're working whether you are aware of them or not. That's why I always push the thought, the I don't want to really call it knowledge, but that's how I always push, that thoughts are things, and for us to really try to get control over our thoughts, because people are banking on us not to have that knowledge. When we look at everything that's going on in the United States or whatever, and it seems like things are getting worse and worse and worse, but we use all these things as a distraction, whether you can find a way that it helps society, and it does, because it's always going to be something that is helpful and harmful, duality, but at the same time, when these things are filled with a lot of noise, unnecessary noise too, because like news programs, radio program, or music, not necessarily radio, but music, some music that we listen to or whatever, TV programs that we consume ourselves with, social media, that we consume ourselves with. All these things keep our minds moving and our minds busy, to the point where we don't actually have time to sit and really be aware of what we're thinking at the time that we're thinking it, in a sense, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So and then you don't have time to really know the power of what it is that you're thinking, or being able to calm your mind to where you receive downloads. I say from the universe, you can say from God, Allah, however you want to say it, you know what I'm saying, but that consciousness, that inner guidance, of a higher power, that connection that we all have as humans. I know on the last show, me and Nelson Neal was going back and forth about, the difference between animals and humans. But just like as humans, that ability that we have, that connection that we have with a higher power. If you don't know, if your mind is never still enough to know that part of yourself, then someone is controlling it, because it's either you're controlling it or someone else is controlling it, because it's still working regardless. Like, it's still creating regardless. It's still the cause of what it is that you see in your reality regardless. And when we have a bunch of mass control, mass, not like the mask you wear on your face, but mass mass control media platforms the way that we do, the people that are in control of that actually are controlling the people that's like you playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? The person with the controller is the one controlling the video game. If you're controlling all these type of outlets and things that we have, then you kind of have a sense of control over the people that engage in these type of activities. So what is this? I'm sorry, y'all. I was trying to see okay, this I was trying to get back to. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, so when you let these type of things control what it is that's and it's kind of like I said, what goes in is a direct reflection of what comes out, of what is perceived on the outside of it. When we think about the youth and how the youth are today, is and you got to think why. You know what I'm saying? You gotta try to figure out the why in it, and it all comes back to self. That's why when they say, know thyself, that's a lot of people coin it to the Egyptians, over, eat or wherever, different empires and things like that are different, religion systems or belief systems or things like that, but I know is know thyself. And when you think about know thyself, like, what does that really mean? What does it really mean to know thyself? And what is that, on what are we speaking of? Because people take that in so many different ways and conceive that, because we all perceive things to our own level of understanding, right? So if your understanding is limited in one specific religion or one specific social group, Like, and I say that like we talk about like the Proud Boys and white supremacy and all this other kind of stuff or whatever, because these people really believe that how they feel and the things that they doing is actually right. You know what I'm saying? Like they have no conception about others, in a sense. And that's why, and when we look at these different religions and different groups and everything like that, those are the type of things that we should be looking at. Those are the type of things that we should be looking for. If you can look at your religion or belief system, whatever it is, and it tells you to have hatred towards any other certain group of humans on this earth, you need to reconsider that religion or reconsider that faith, because that's not gonna be a savior of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like what we in now, and that's kind of gonna take me into my second half or whatever, because I wanted to talk about the concept of heaven or hell. So, and what it is that we see today, because you will ask people, you will ask someone, and while y'all on here and when we go on this break, y'all tell me in the comments, you know what I'm saying, what do you think about heaven and hell? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's a concept? Do you think it's a physical place? Like, what do you really think? What do you really think is the and I'm not necessarily saying, and there's so many things that go into it when we talk about, there are so many truths that we hit when we of life that we think we have a misconception of when you think about like heaven or hell, because you got heaven, the concept of heaven and hell itself, you got the concept of reincarnation, you got the transition of death, all these things that we have been conditioned to really fear. And so, but we have to ask ourselves why. Why have we been conditioned to fear these type of things or whatever? How does that affect our daily lives? How does it affect what we are going through on a plane of manifest right now today? How does it affect our present day sense? Because we look at different, I'm gonna get into that when we come back on our break, but yeah, definitely think about that, and y'all let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that, and why is it important? And tell me, what do you think about it in particular? Like, like how I just went explain, and then tell me why is it important to know, or why is this of an important concept to understand? So yeah, because what we living in today, you ask some people about like hell, and they'll tell you that we living in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel like everything that's going on in the world today, you got so much murder and theft and bloodshed and war, and I mean just hatred all over, just pure hatred. You know what I'm saying? All over. So you have so much of that in the world today that some people will look at what's going on today in the world as hell, as living in hell, especially for a person of melanated complexion or hue. The things that we are subjected to on a daily basis, and just to even prosper in life, the obstacles that we come across to be able to move forward and create wealth for ourselves and our children and our families. Some people would say that it's hell. We go through hell to really do these type of things or whatever, but then we gotta look at why and how these things come about. And so that's where we get into, our thoughts being things, because it's an individual concept that affects the whole. Again, but that wholeness, that oneness, goes back to universal laws. Actually, the first universal laws of everything being connected, all of us being connected, as one. It's one. And that's also the thing, is being oneness with the Most High as well, however you look at it, whatever name you might subscribe to. But it's being one with that source as well. A lot of people don't view it like that, but it is. So it's like we have our individual choices that we make on a daily basis, but every choice that we make individually affects us as a whole, as humanity, as one. And once you get a lot of collective thoughts that's feeding off the full energy, then that's going to be what your reality is perceived as. That's how you're going to perceive reality. That's what reality is just going to be, because of all the collective energy that's going into that that's going into that source, or going into that ideal, or going into that not necessarily concept, but just going into that energy field, that energy level, that on that frequency level. So it's definitely important. And I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back on the second half, and we're going to get a little bit more into it. But drop your comments in it while we take this quick little break, and I'll be right back.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bakes Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAWN, of and about our community.
This is the last weekend before Christmas, and on Blue Time in the City, we're wrapping up our All Christmas Blues and Southern Soul program.
Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy, and we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays, Monday through Friday at 12 noon. KUAW around the world on KUAW.org.
I'm sorry, my bad. My bad. Show who they really are. But okay, yes. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, behind the scenes stuff, okay? Okay, but thank you for bearing with me again. If you have an event or a business that you'll like sponsor here on KUAW, make sure to email us at KUAW9885@gmail.com. We do check our emails, so make sure to email us and let us know what you got going on out here in the community, because we are here for you. You support us, let us support you. Okay, so we so I want to talk about, let's talk about these thoughts being things, right, and creating the reality that we in, and then how that kind of relates to what we see going on in the world today. Okay, so that was just like a brief recap of how we was gonna go into this second half or whatever, right? So, and how we end up creating our own heaven or hell. So this is really what I want to talk about, because, you know, I say that, you know, we bring out the truths about some of these concepts that we've been taught about in life. So heaven and hell hell, especially when we talk about hell was a concept that was created at the Nicene Council, I believe, is when it entered the New Testament. And the thing about it is, it was really translation, but we'll get into that, because it really didn't translate into what it has become today. But it's fear, right? So it's like they tell you that you got to live a certain life, or you got to do certain things, or you're going to go to this place called hell. And it's not just in the Bible as well, because it's also in the Quran, the Holy Quran of Mecca, the Big Quran, like with Sunni Muslims and stuff. And it's also in there, and they talk about how it's different tiers. I know in the Quran, because I don't know the Bible, I really don't believe that hell is mentioned in the Bible, and that's one thing that people always like to challenge or whatever. And then you can just really tell them, it's like, where can you find it at? What book, what verse, like what chapter is it actually mentioned in the Bible? But anyway, the Quran definitely mentions hell, and it tells about it seven different levels of hell, and how you gonna be burning and it can be internal fire burning forever. You like never die, you just grow new skin to be burnt again, or pulling boiling hot water on you, or you try to run, you yank back by iron little yank tools and whips and things like that. Like, it's crazy. Hey, the way the Quran describes hell, you be like, nah, I ain't trying to go there. Not just but it's really crazy. Y'all had to look it up. It's in like Surah 436, I believe. So yeah, so it's crazy, right? But it's like, why this concept? So this concept of, if you don't live your life a certain way, if you don't do all these certain things or whatever, then you're gonna go to hell, right? And then the very opposite is heaven. And it's crazy because, you know, heaven is described as a material place. When you talk about like pearly gates and gold roads and all kind of stuff like that, kind of sound like the Wizard of Oz. But anyway, that's disrespectful. I'm sorry, but all these material things or whatever, right? And so it kind of puts you into equating materialistic things and treasures and luxuries as like heaven on earth as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, people with all these big old houses and luxury cars and all this other kind of stuff or whatever, you will look at those type of things as being in heaven. Which people that have a lot of people that hope that has those type of things or whatever, they be the most depressed people ever, unhappy like people ever. Like, you know, that's like the saying, more money, more problems, right? So they, you know, it's crazy. But really, these things are this, and see what it happens is these things are inside of us. That's why it kind of goes back to know thyself. And when it says know thyself, you understand as a human, you know what I'm saying? And so these things are inside of us. We all have that consciousness in us, so where we're doing something, whether it's right or wrong, right? When I opened it up, I said that we all make choices every second of the day. We're making a choice, right? To be able to do something or whatever it is that you think that you might gonna do, decision that you're gonna make. It's a choice that you make, that you have the ability to make. It's not something that's automatic, right? Like animals. But anyway, so it's a choice. It's a choice that we make, right? And depending on which self, which like we talk about the higher self and the lower self, right? And that's when we think about, that's the inside version of what heaven and hell is, right? Because you think of the higher self as the mother of virtues and harmonies of life, right? And then you have the lower self, which is hatred, slander, nudity, murder, theft, everything that harms. Hell, right? You know what I'm saying? And it says, like, in a lot of people, you look, say all those characteristics, and it's kind of what we see today in the world. Like, everything is hatred, you know, murder, like every day. You know what I'm saying? That you can't get away from it. And so you would look at, why is that? But look at the energy that's put into the people that are causing this reality to take place. When you think about your mind, how are you controlling your thoughts? What frequency are you dwelling your thoughts in? Are you in a higher frequency? Are you in a lower frequency? Are you in a heaven frequency? Are you in a hell frequency, right? Because depending on what frequency you are is what you're going to create in your reality. So when people say that we're living in hell, that's not an incorrect statement. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way that the world is perceived today, the things that are put out into that the mass medias and our thoughts form. So that's what we project, that's what we create in the world that's in front of us. And the concept of it was like, it was turned out of us because they have us looking outside of ourselves. When you get into a faith or a spirituality or something that is really wrapped around know thyself, right? They're talking about inner self, like the inner abilities, the energies and things that you have within you, right? The power that has been that knowledge has been suppressed from us for so many years, so many generations. Like they when we first came over here in 1492, it took them 200 years to try to beat it out of us. You know what I'm saying? Generations and things like that to try to get those ideas and practices so far gone, lost in the mind, that we wouldn't be able to be where we are today. Some people, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I say it's the age of the Aquarius, the age of awakening, because people are really coming into this knowledge and things like this. And the thing about it is, and it's not only Because see, you'll get some people that make it seem like melanin gives you that power, and so that like we're the only people with that power. But no, because if you go back to like Buddha and Confucius and all these kind of peoples over there in the East, they taught the same type of concepts, you know what I'm saying, to the nations of people over there. They have those same type of knowledge over there. It was over here with the Europeans wanted us to have a certain type of mentality or have a certain type that they beat into us. Those are taught us through years and years of lies and programming, and that knowledge was suppressed out of us. So we're out here we're looking for everything outside of ourselves. We're looking for heaven outside of ourselves. We're looking for hell outside of ourselves. We're looking for God outside of ourselves. Everything we're looking for and putting it in an outer view and an outer version of it, when really these things are inward concepts. And when you understand the inward concepts of them, then you know how to flip whatever it is that you may be going through today, right? Whatever it is. And now we can't solve the world problem, right? Because the thing about the world, the only thing that's going to solve the world problem is the concept of love. Like people learning how to love. When I love another individual or humanity, that means that I respect them. I can respect their opinion, whether I agree with it or not. Like I can respect where they are in life. But our people don't have that. They feel like if you don't agree, then it's a conflict. We got a confrontation. You know what I'm saying? We are arguing. They want to kill each other, like all kind of stuff or whatever. Like it's a lot of hatred, and you can't have both. It's like faith and fear. You know, I used to have this thing on my phone that says faith over fear, right? Because when you have opposites of something, then you either have they can't occupy the same space. And the easiest way to understand this concept is with light and dark, right? Light and dark cannot occupy the same space, because the more light that you put into the darkness, the more the darkness goes away, right? So when you think about faith and fear, and the more fear that you have, the less faith that you have. You know what I'm saying? So the more faith that you have, the less fear that you have. People that really have a strong faith don't really fear a lot of things, because they have faith in whatever it is that is going to work itself out, whether that be God, you know, whatever. You know, they tell you how they figure it's gonna come about, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's faith of a mustard seed, right? They tell you that's all you need is a little bit of it. But I'm just saying, the less of that you have of the other, then the less that you have of one thing, the more that you have of the other. So that's why it's important for us to be able to control our thoughts around the things that we see that people are inflicting on our thoughts through social media, through news media vacations, through things that are actually put in misguided to change our reality of what it is that we're seeing, or what it is that we're viewing, you know what I'm saying, to make it seem like it's something that it's not, right? And so we definitely have to and that's why that's important, right? Because if you don't do these things, then you're just projecting what it is that someone else is putting in your view or putting in your mind. That's what you're putting out, right? And so we it's really important to know that about the power that dwells inside of you, the power that you have. That's why I love the concept of know thyself, because you can never stop study yourself enough. Like the power that the human actually, that we as humans, that we actually hold, in a lot of these things that we feel is not out of our, that we feel is out of our control, because we've been taught that it's out of our control, but it's really not. And so I have opened up and told you about, I got enough time. We could talk about this for a little bit. So another thing about it is when you get into the idea of heaven or hell being outside of yourselves, right? It makes you fear the unknown, because a lot of people say, well, you really don't know unless you die. You kind of fear the unknown. It kind of makes you fear death. Death is another concept that has been misconstrued to the masses, right? Because like you'll hear me say it all the time, death is a transition just like birth, right? So because we are not these bodies, like this plane of manifest, this is the lowest vibration that you can be vibrating on, you know what I'm saying? Like for you to even be in this flesh, right? And so no, I was trying to think. So what I was trying to think. Oh, death, and then reincarnation, right? So we just went through what Kwanzaa and everything like that. And Kwanzaa, the Kwanzaa celebrations that I've been to, right? They do this thing called libation. Is that how you say it? Libation? Yeah, libation. So libation, right? And libation is basically just giving thanks or, worship to the ancestors, right? So we take this idea of the ancestors. If the concept of heaven or hell was true, how would you be able to connect with your ancestors if they, like it said, never die? Or, you know what I'm saying? If they're just somewhere, hopefully not in hell, but burning eternally and things like that or whatever, how could you make that connection? You know what I'm saying? And these are the type of questions. Remember I said that you should question everything. These are the type of questions that you have to ask yourself when we're really thinking about these things, when we're teaching these things to our children. That's really what it is. When we're teaching these things to our children, we really have to think about, the questions that can come out of it, right? And the type of things that you're teaching, because you can't teach one thing that blatantly contradicts another. Like, it don't work like that. Eventually they're gonna catch on. Eventually, hopefully your mind will click and you catch on. But it's like, we really can't. These things blatantly contradict each other, right? And I know everyone doesn't believe in reincarnation. It's a touchy subject, I get it, to some, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm not with like the Buddhist understanding of it, where you can like come back as an animal or like a butterfly, or you know what I'm saying, things like that or whatever. I don't feel like that's possible at all. Just because of the different spirits that the different layers that goes into it. That y'all gonna have to catch me on another show for that to really talk about that, because it was kind of something that I wanted to get into last week when we were speaking about the difference between animals and humans. So I might do a whole show over animals and humans or whatever. But yeah, it totally contradicts all those concepts. And what it does is it keeps people in a state of fear. So and here's the thing that's important about the state of fear, and why and how, the European, and they use this to their advantage, right? Because they put us in a state of fear over a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? These concepts are heavier concepts that, you taught through mostly religion and everything like that. But also, like, you look at the whole thing that came out about the coronavirus, and it ain't just the coronavirus. It was the Ebola virus. It was SARS. It was AIDS or HIV. Like, it's been a lot of different things. Cancer. There's a lot of things that are put in the forefront of our people that cause this a state of fear, or somewhat form of fear. So let's talk about this fear, for instance. Like we said that, faith and fear cannot occupy the same space, right? But also, fear is a lower frequency, right? We were talking about this creating a lower of heaven or hell. So, and frequently when you, I used to have a chart, and I'm gonna post it because I do have a chart. Like, there's certain levels of emotions that are tied to certain frequencies, like grief, sadness, fear, anxiety, disappointment. And it like kind of goes up like to a level of where it's going up, and you got like happy, joy, bliss, excitement. You know what I'm saying? Love is the top one, y'all. But all these different emotions that are tied to different frequencies, right? So if I have the masses on a lower frequency and of fear, because it's the easiest one to obtain through people, you know what I'm saying, is to create a state of fear. And I mean, we do it. They do it on Halloween. To think about haunted houses. Like, people turn their own houses into haunted houses. The tricks and scary pranks and stuff they play on their kids is very easy to create the feeling of fear. So I think that's why it's most common. But it's also, when we talk about the law of attraction, right? I know I always got to bring it back full circle. So when we talk about the law of attraction, and you attract the things of the energy level that you dwell on, or the frequency level that you dwell on, right? So if I constantly have the masses on this level of this frequency of fear, they're putting out lower vibrations and fear. So when we look at society, we have a low vibrating society. That's why I said this is a spiritual war that we're in, that we have to name, because we're not going to be able to give into all the anger and things that they're trying to cause upon us with the things that they do, the things they put in our face, the things that they blast on media websites and outlets and things like that. Like those type of distractions, that we're going to have to make a choice, and we're going to have to make a choice to either dwell low or dwell high. And that's gonna be the breaking point in what we see coming out in the future of what it is that we're doing in these next couple of years with everything, how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like how the switch of power go. A lot of people feel like that we're in a shift of power, which could be true. I mean, these people that been in power for what we know at least the last 400 years. It's about time for their time to be up, you know. So it's like those are the type of things. But we still have to be prepared, because you can't be placed in a position of power if you ain't ready to take it on. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't gonna be out here and be able to do the same type of things that we see that's going on today, because we not them type of people. That's how they say we not gonna get it. Everybody know that we ain't gonna get in power and want to enslave the European. You know what I'm saying? No matter, yeah, they did it to us, but you know what I'm saying? We ain't built like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing about it is we're not, like, our people are not out here. The people that's really on the forefront of things or whatever, they're not out here trying to insinuate a war or anything like that. They just want equal treatment. They just want just treatment. You know what I'm saying? Just like about the things that happened at Washington. A lot of people are saying, we're not saying that you need to shoot them like you shoot us. We're saying don't shoot us like you don't shoot them. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you do know how to practice undeadly force, or you do know how to do some things without deadly force. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to us, it's always a type of thing like that or whatever. But it's like we cannot let those type of things. We have to make the conscious choice to remain on a higher frequency. We have to make a conscious choice to find happiness, to find joy in everything. There's good in everything. It's all about the way that you perceive it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, just for example, your tire could blow. You know what I'm saying? You can be on a highway, your tire can blow. You could be on your way to work, like whatever, you feel like you on your way to some important meeting and all this other kind of stuff. You feel like this is crazy, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me or whatever, but you don't know about that accident that you just missed because you wasn't down there. That could have been you, that was probably about 2-3 miles down the road, but your tire blew to prevent you from doing that. But those are the type of things, that are instances that we don't think about. You have to try to find the good in everything. When you look in a situation, if you perceive that situation to be bad or as challenge, look at this like, what can I learn from this? What is this trying to teach me? Like, it's either lessons or you know what I'm saying? I'm not taking no losses. It's either wins or lessons, no losses, you know? And that's the type of mentality that we have to be able to stay on these higher frequencies, to be able to really use, I guess, or whatever. I guess that's the word I'm gonna have to use for now, but really be able to use the power that's within us, our God-given power. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always tell people all the time, because they always wanna. A lot of people like to call it blasphemy, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why they crucified Jesus. But anyway, they like to call it blasphemy when you try to say these things or whatever. But it's like, if we was made in his image. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you say that or whatever, it's like, what does that mean? You know, you have to look into the meaning of that. What type of attributes, it is that we have that ties us to that source. That's what it means to know thyself, to be able to study those type of things and become aware of those type of things. Because when you know better, you do better. So when you know the effect that your thoughts, every single thought that you have has on your reality, how much weight it holds on what actually occurs in front of you, you will be more conscious of every thought that you have. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't let nobody be able to take you to a lower frequency. Your goal will always be to dwell on a higher frequency, because when you dwell on those higher frequencies, you're able to create your heart's desires. You're more susceptible to the other things that are on that frequency. That's where the law of attraction comes in. But I digress. I'm gonna leave you guys with, of course, the Holy Covenant of Asiatic Nation, because that is my time. And so, just real quick, ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given ye suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that bondeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy Father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Peace.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station.